All right, we are doing lesson 10.8 today, and I love this lesson. Here's why. You are going to use this lesson for the rest of your high school career. Pre-cal, calculus, algebra 2 trig. Wherever you go, you're going to see this. So it's super important that you grasp the whole concept. It's not hard, but it's important that you understand how to graph a circle and how to write the equation of a circle. Okay? It is a lot of variables, but it's not bad, I promise. So this is the equation you need to memorize, this right here. That is the equation of a circle. Star it, highlight it, write it on your forehead, write it on your friend's forehead, memorize it. Silver. Okay, now, in this equation of a circle, when we typically plot a point on a coordinate graph, or a coordinate grid, we're used to the point saying x then y, right? The difference in a circle is the center is going to be at what we're going to call HK. Same thing, different variables. Okay, so if that confuses you, a hut above it, right, that's the same thing as XY. We're just changing them to HK. Then, once you're given the center and the radius, you just plug it in, and this is going to form your equation of a circle. The only tricky thing about it is, when you plug in your center, this is your center, it's at -1, 3. So -1 is your H, and 3 is your K. Whatever the sign is up here, when you plug it in the equation, you have to flip it. Here's why. In this equation right here, if we have x plus 1, if you set that equal to 0, it's actually equal to -1. So when you plug it into this equation, you have to flip it, because when you solve it, you need this to be the same thing as this. So it's kind of like what we were doing earlier with 10.7. When it's set equal to 0, it's always the opposite sign, right? Kind of the same thing. So your center always goes right here and right here. If it was -1 to begin with, when we plug it in, it becomes +1. If it was positive to begin with, when you plug it in, it becomes negative. That's it. You just change it, plug it in. Then your radius is 6. That's what your R stands for right here. Whatever your radius is, you square it, and that's what goes on the outside.
Like, where does the X and Y come from?
So the X and Y, you'll see in a minute why that's important. It's just telling you which way on the coordinate plane it goes. Like this is X, so it goes side to side. This is Y, so it goes up and down. The reason we have X and Y here, and we have to change these to H and K, is for examples like number 1. We're starting at the center at 0, 0. So when you plug that into your equation, x plus 0 squared plus, that's always a plus in the middle. It's always going to be a plus in the middle because it's your part of your equation. It's always going to be a plus. Plus y plus 0 squared equals 8 squared. The reason you have this x and y is because if your h and k are 0, we want to put this in simplest form. AKA, if they are 0, they go away. So simplest form for this, x plus 0 squared just becomes what? X squared. And if you didn't have an x or a y, there'd be nothing there. And we have to have something there. That's why we have an x and a y. What's your y become? Radius squared is? So by looking at this equation right here, if you're ever given that equation, you should be able to graph a circle. Well, the center is at 0, 0. And the radius, so if we plot the center, we can plot any point up or down, right? Because the radius is going to be the square root of 64, which is 8. So if we have the center, we can graph 8 this way, 8 this way, 8 up, 8 down, and then connect them, and that's your graph. Okay? Yes?
Why in the parentheses if we make it to be a plus?
You can pick. Either way, it's going to cancel out. because 0 is not positive or negative. Okay? All right, number 2, going sideways, not down. Sideways. Center at negative 2, 3, radius of 5. So we have to switch our signs when we're plugging it in. So it becomes x what? Plus 2 squared plus y minus 3 squared equals 5 squared, which is 25. Can you try 3, 4, 5, 6?
Is that simplest form?
That's simplest form. Yes. Okay. So if those are not 0, this is simplest form. Don't try to be fancy and factor everything or FOIL everything out. Don't be fancy. Stop. Don't make this harder than it isn't already. Okay? Try 3, 4, 5, 6. Check 3 and 4. Did I square the radius on number 3?
Yes.
1 squared is just 1. Okay. Number 5. What's the difference in number 5 versus the other ones? They gave us the diameter. So but don't square the diameter. That's not going to give you the right thing. You have to divide the diameter by 2, then square it. So if the diameter is 8, then the radius is?
4.
And so 4 squared is?
16.
This isn't necessarily hard. So if there's an opportunity to trick you, I'm going to. That's my trick. What does origin mean? 0, 0. You can skip this step. You do not have to go through that step. If you want to go straight to here, that's fine. Okay? So if it's at the origin, it's just going to be x squared plus y squared. Diameter is 4. Radius is 2 squared is. Notice how those are the same thing. That does not always happen. It's not always the same thing. Hence this example, right? Okay, 7 and 8. We have the center, and then we have 1 point. So you have to find the radius. We can go ahead and write the beginning of it. What would it be? Good. Okay, that's the beginning. But you have to write the radius. This is where your additional graphs come into play. So don't overthink this. All I'm about to do is plot these 2 points. Okay? I'm going to plot the center, and then I'm going to plot one of the points. So on this graph, I'm going to go ahead and plot the center. So if this is the center, and this, one of the points is directly beside it, that means from here to this point is the what? Yeah, that's the radius. if that's one of the points on the outside and that's the center, then from here to here is just the radius. So how many boxes did we cover? So if your radius is 4, then in your equation, 4 squared is
Like, confused.
I just counted the boxes. One person in first period asked this, and it works. Just depends on what you have available and what you want to do. Really good, good mind, good smart mind that person had. That's kind of awkward. She said, if it passes through that point, then can't I just plug those points in and it'll give me the radius squared? Yeah, it works. So if you plug it in, -1 minus 3 squared plus -4 plus 4 squared. Well, that's -4 squared plus 0 squared. -4 times -4 is? That works. But if you have a graph, that works too. I'm just showing you all your options. Okay?
Can you use distance formula?
You could use distance formula. You wouldn't need it on this one, though, because they're right beside each other. However, on number 8, plot those points.
Do we have to?
Plot those points on number 8. So, at h is at 0, so the beginning is just going to be x squared. You can have one that's 0 and one that's not. Because the h is 0, we're only going to have x squared. Yes? But then y is going to be, hello, y minus 3 squared. Okay, that's just the beginning. I'm going to go plot these points. Let's look at it. 0, 3, that's the center. Okay, so on this one, here is the center and 1 point. Now, can I count straight through those lines? No. So you have a couple of options. 1, you could plug it in. 2, you could use the distance formula. I love my girl named Distance, but I don't know, just kind of intense, right? Also, option number 3, option 1, plug it in. Option 2, with that distance. Option 3, drop and over, and I just formed a right triangle. And this leg is 3, and this leg is 2. I can find the hypotenuse by using Pythagorean theorem. 3 squared is 2 squared is, that equals c squared. So, 13, hold on, don't do too much work. Don't do too much work. If I take the square root of this, I'm just going to have to square it back because it's radius squared. So this is your answer. Radius squared is 13. Now, of course, if you're confused by that, go ahead, take the square root. You do you. Then you have to square it, right? Same exact thing. So it's going to equal 13. Okay, 9 and 10. You're not given the information. Instead, you are given a graph. Write the equation of a circle given this graph. Well, what's the center of number 9? And what's the radius? 2. Just count from the center to one of the sides. Don't try to count sideways. Either go straight side. Don't try to count like this way. Either go straight to the side, other side, up, or down. So your equation would be right? Okay, you try 10. Well, you can go on any 4 sides. Up, down, or side to side. Is that what you got? Yes? Okay, go to page 12. We didn't get to the back. That's okay. We'll finish that one tomorrow. You learned the gist of it. So on page 12, your classwork / homework, good. You're getting the same exact time as first period, 4 minutes. I want you to do 1 through 8. 1 through 8 all for your homework. Classwork, because you technically have 4 minutes. And I bet you could get at least 4 done.